Do you ever get that feeling that things like this have happened before? A really hard fought, tight game where the score ends up being a bit of a blowout? A little bit of loss of discipline near the end of the game? A couple of power play goals to seal it? The Melbourne Ice win 6-1 over the CBR Brave in the AIHL Second Semi Final. I know, I picked the Brave to win, I got it wrong. I just really didn't expect the Ice to be as dominant as they were over a team that effectively owned us over the whole season. Once again, proving that the finals are never the same as the regular season. I'm not going to go through all of the goals because this is a semi-final and there were 7 goals scored, so I'm just going to pick a couple to sort of prove the point that I've seen this game before. The second goal of the game, scored at 6:02 of the first, was scored by Todd Graham with assists to Tommy Powell and Mitch Humphries. This is one of those goals where Graham charges down to the back post and gets a perfect pass across the crease, and all he has to do is tip it in. That's exactly how this play went down, Tommy Powell sending out the pass to him. And the goal was pretty much identical to the goal that Graham scored against the North Stars about halfway through August. The next goal I want to talk about was at 10:50 of the second. Stephen Blunden scored the only CBR goal with the assist going to Anton Kokkonen. This was a great feed from Kokkonen heading down while Blunden was crashing the net and managed to get the goal. And it really does show why those two guys work together so well. They've accounted for a lot of points for the Brave this year. The next goal I want to talk about was at 8:06 of the second, was a power play goal to Jeff Smith with assists to Tommy Powell and Jeremy Brown. As he has done the entire year, Smitty just set up at the edge of the crease and being a great big screen in front of the goalie and managed to get the goal from there. At 3:17 of the third, Tim Johansson got a power play goal with assists going to Jeremy Brown and Liam Webster. Remember that goal that Webster scored from the corner in the second of the Melbourne derbies? The shot was from that position on the ice, except this one hit the inside of Petri Pitkanen's pad to go in. The last goal of the game was scored at 1:36 of the third. It was another power play goal, this one to Tommy Powell with assists to Jeremy Brown. You've probably noticed a lot of power play goals there. The Brave really did lose a lot of their discipline as they got into the end of the third period there, just like the last few minutes of the last derby. In the last 5 minutes of the game, there were 16 penalty minutes called against the Brave, with Anton Kokkonen picking up a 10-minute misconduct in all of that. So during that time, the Ice managed to score 2 power play goals and completely put this game out of reach. A couple of key players from the game. Tommy Powell picked up 2 goals and 2 assists. He really did seem to be everywhere. He was always a threat whenever he had the puck in the Brave zone. He was always throwing the puck on net. I'd be really interested to see how many shots he actually personally took on net. Another key player for the Ice was Jeremy Brown. He picked up 3 assists during the game, and he was also really important in dragging a lot of the Brave players to him to free up other players. Over on the CBR side, Stephen Blunden scored the only goal for the Brave, but he would have been a lot more effective if he'd spent more time out of the penalty box. He did get into a little bit of trouble there. Line mate Matthew Ouellette was also playing, but I understand he was coming back from a severe injury and they weren't actually expecting him to play. In the end, it turned out he didn't have an impact on the game at all. Having a look at the goalies in the game, Jaden Pine Murphy was in net for the Ice. He made 22 saves on the 23 shots that he faced, giving him a .956 save percentage. Pine Murphy was really switched on for this game. He was solid, he was confident, he was square to the puck, he was efficient with his movements. He barely needed to scramble this whole game. Down the other end of the ice, Petri Pitkanen made 34 saves on the 40 shots he faced for an .850 save percentage. Comparing him to Pine Murphy, Pitkanen never really seemed all that settled in his crease, and that goal that he let in by Johansson, the one that came from a really sharp angle and hit the pad, that kind of proved that he was never really as dialed in as I'd seen him in previous games. Maybe he was worried about taking a shot to the face again. So the end of the game also marked the end of the CBR Braves' inaugural season in the AIHL, and I have to say they have done an amazing job to get to where they are. Just remember, this club didn't exist until 6 weeks before the season, and even then it was still touch and go whether they would actually make it. And when they applied to enter the league, no one had any idea on how competitive the team would end up being. At the end of the regular season, they finished 3rd, and that's a fantastic spot to be in when you've never even played before. For the Ice, that meant that they were going to the AIHL Grand Final. This will be the 4th time in 5 years that the Ice have made the Grand Final, and certainly a 6-1 win is going to be a great confidence boost going in there. The Ice will face the Mustangs in a Sunday afternoon game, and as I found out by the Ice beating the Brave, you've got no idea what's going to happen in a playoff game. Do you ever get that feeling that things like this have happened before?